I'd like to call to order the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners. Roll call, please.
Jebin Singh,
Here.
McGuire,
Here.
McMurtry,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Moran,
Here.
Zhang,
Here.
and Ortega.
Aye. Will we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Miller, land acknowledgement, please.
Yes. So every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will, some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hopes of a better life, and some have lived on this land since time immemorial. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We are standing on the ancestral lands of the Dakota people. We want to acknowledge the Ojibwe, the Ho-Chunk, and other nations of people who also called this place home. We pay respects to their elders, past and present. Please take a moment to consider the treaties made by the tribal nations that entitle non-Native people to live and work on traditional Native lands. Consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that bring us together here today. And please join us in uncovering such truths at any and all public events.
Thank you. We'll entertain a motion on the agenda of April 1st, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Miller,
Aye.
Moran,
Aye.
Zhang,
Aye.
Jebin Singh,
Aye.
McGuire,
Aye.
McMurtry,
Aye.
and Ortega.
Aye. We'll entertain a motion on the minutes of March 18th, 2025.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Miller,
Aye.
Moran,
Aye.
Zhang,
Aye.
Jebin Singh,
Aye.
McGuire,
Aye.
McMurtry,
Aye.
and Ortega.
Aye. Now we have a proclamation. Commissioner McGuire.
I'm very excited about this. I'm going to ask everyone who's here for county government month to join me at the... I understand there's a group of county workers and employees who are here to recognize County Government Month. So thank you for being here. It's exciting to recognize all the work that counties do in our state and in our country. So thank you all. Come on, fill in. I won't ask you all to speak, but you will get to introduce yourself. So we're going to acknowledge all the amazing departments and work that is being done in county. So thank you all for being here. And Mr. Chair, it is just such an honor to be able to do this proclamation in honor of County Government Month. April is County Government Month, and we're doing this around the country. Our National Association of Counties, which we are all very involved in, and which I'm honored to be the immediate past president of, honors all the work that counties do. And we do just so many things that impact and improve the lives of others. And so I'm just grateful for all the work that we do and for the work that we do statewide and nationally. And I know that we'll continue to recognize this work throughout the month, but throughout the year, because we do this work on a daily basis. It's just nice to have a specific time when we can honor it. So I will read the proclamation, and we will have the people behind me introduce themselves so we can really get a grasp of the work that counties do. Whereas the National Association of Counties, or NACO, recognizes 3,069 county governments, in addition to 42 city-county consolidations. Counties serve more than 330 million Americans, providing essential services to create healthy, safe, and vibrant communities. And whereas since 1991, NACO has encouraged counties across the country to elevate awareness of county responsibilities, programs, and services, which includes serving as intergovernmental partners to enact local, state, and federal programs to address the needs of all residents. And whereas Ramsey County continues to be a vibrant community where all are valued and thrive, serving as a county of excellence by working with residents to enhance everyone's quality of life. And whereas to achieve the county's vision and mission, the county developed a county-wide strategic plan to serving residents first, advancing racial and health equity, aligning talent attraction, centering justice system transformation, strengthening families, responding to climate change, and building intergenerational prosperity. And whereas Ramsey County and all counties take pride in the responsibility to protect and enhance the health, well-being, and safety of all residents in efficient and cost-effective ways. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed, the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners do hereby declare April 2025 as National County Government Month. And be it further proclaimed, the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners encourage all county officials, employees, schools, and residents to participate in county government celebration activities, and to really thank all of the people that work in county government. So thank you very much. So I would just say, in addition to this proclamation, how honored I mentioned that I'm past president of our National Association, and the work that our county did to really enhance that work and the visibility of our county in our national our national work. That we were able to host a board meeting of our national board here last December. Our county manager, Ling Becker, as Workforce Solutions Director, did an entire day of demonstrating our workforce solutions and our work with community. We toured the Innovation Lab at 3M, and everyone continues to say that those 3 days being in Ramsey County were the highlight of their county careers, that they really appreciated being here, doing the tour, and experiencing all the amazing things that Ramsey County does. And our board has been so supportive of the work that I did as president, but the work that we all do in conjunction with our federal partners and our state partners. So it's just amazing to be able to recognize this, and I know we're going to continue to do work this month and throughout the year to just really thank our employees and all the departments that do the great work that we do. So I said, we have a saying nationally that if you've seen one county, you've seen one county, because counties all do things differently and they appear differently. But I will say that we are the best county in the country. So I just want to say that, and and then we'll all acknowledge that it's not because we do everything perfectly, but because we actually look at what we do and try to do it better. We are in a continuous state of improvement, and I know that we're all working toward that, and that is why I'm so honored to be a member of this board, but to be a member of to be a participant in the work that we do. So thank you to the board, and to all of you. And with that, I am going to ask you, maybe we should take a picture first, and then we can Everyone introduce themselves as you leave the dais. So let's take a photo first.
Definitely not.
That's why I came right in. It's not gonna help me sit all that.
Just a little bit over to the right.
Okay, and everybody kind of on this side going through.
Should we put these down? Oh. Communications there, catching the details.
Try, take 3.
We need to
Just
move
shift it a little bit more on that side. Thank you. All right.
Turn a little.
Okay, I'll count down from 3. 3, 2, and 1. 3, 2, 1. And one more. 3, 2, 1.
Thank you so much. All right, thank you all. So now, as we can just start with, we'll just start, and then everybody introduce yourselves and what department you work for, and whatever else you want to say, but that's it. And then you can then leave the city. But thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good morning to you. I'm Rashad Parsakella, Ramsey County Property Management. Thank you.
Morgan Reimenagel, Compliance and Ethics Office.
Good morning, Michael Mihalich, representing the Emergency Communications Center.
Good morning, Cassie Figali, Human Resources.
Good morning, I'm Beth Leckler, and I'm with Purchasing and Contracting.
Ray Lockman, Library.
Claudia Klinkhammer, Community and Economic Development.
Judy Lazar, Assessor's Office.
Good morning, Jamie Levine, Office of Health and Wellness Service Team.
Good morning, I'm honored. My name is A. Alex Fu with Service Navigators.
Good morning, Keith Lattimore, Housing Stability.
Cody Hillstead, Social Services.
Good morning, Brian Isaacson, Public Works.
Good morning, Chetan Ganatra, Chief Information Officer for Ramsey County.
Good morning, Amy Karen, Public Health.
Good morning, excuse me. Good morning, Susan Abear, Financial Assistance Services.
Good morning, Bobby Van Grinson with Workforce Solutions.
Good morning, Christina Rost, Veteran Services.
Good morning, Pat Chapman, Ramsey County Assessor.
Good morning, Yvonne Duru, Communications and Public Relations.
Mark McCabe, representing the fine staff of Parks and Recreation.
Good morning, Fallon Quinn, Social Services.
Good morning, Lance Benninghoff, Finance.
Good morning, everyone. Destiny Williams McPherson, Purchasing and Contracting.
Good morning, my name is Kayla. I'm with Property Tax, Records, Selection Services, and Vital Records.
Kyle Messed from the Sheriff's Office, and maybe the uniform gave it away. Good morning.
And I just want to thank everyone again. This is just an amazing showing of all, just a sampling of all the work that counties do. And I just appreciate everyone coming here and letting, the viewing public and just letting people know the breadth of the work that we all do. So thank you all again for that. And thank you, County Manager, for helping organize this, and to the board, of course, for all your great work.
Thank you. And thank you to everybody for their service. Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Administrative agenda, please.
Yep. I would like to move the following administrative items for approval. Administrative item number 4, joint powers agreement with the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. Item number 5, appointment to the Metropolitan Emergency Services Board 911 Technical Operations Committee and the Radio Technical Operations Committee. Administrative item number 6, second amendment to the purchase and sale agreement for TCAP Rice Creek Commons Outlot A.
Chair, I would like to pull item 6.
Okay.
Item number 7, administrative resource planning, funding plan, and request for approval.
Chair, I'd like to pull number 7.
Okay.
Item number 8, enterprise resource planning bond reimbursement resolution. Item number 9, agreement with enterprise resource planning system contractor. Item number 10, agreement with enterprise resource planning budgeting system contractor. Item number 11, agreement with enterprise resource planning implementation contractor. Item number 12, settlement agreement in Vanadia, Larita Campbell, and Martin Allen Smith versus the second versus Ramsey County, court file number 24-CV-00913. Item number 13, terms of collective bargaining agreement with Teamsters 320 probation officers for the years 2025, 2026, and 2027. Item number 14, terms of collective bargaining agreement with Teamsters 320 correctional officers 1 and 2 for the years 2025, 2026, and 2027. And item number 15, terms of collective bargaining agreement with the Teamsters Local 320 Chief Correctional Officers for the years 2025, 2026, and 2027.
Thank you. Was there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion on these items? Hearing none, roll call.
Miller,
Aye.
Moran,
Aye.
Zhang,
Aye.
Jebin Singh,
Aye.
McGuire,
Aye.
McMurtry,
Aye.
and Ortega.
Aye. Commissioners,
Yes, so I just wanted to highlight that item number 6 is the amendment to purchase and sale agreement for the TCAP of the Rice Creek Commons Outlet A. And this has been a long time coming. This is a project that has been of utmost importance for a very long time, and it requires a moment of thanks and recognition to all of the folks who've been working on this. So just a little bit of a timeline. The Joint Development Authority reviewed and provided initial approval of the Phase 1 project, which is a 157,000 square foot advanced technology project at our March meeting. The approval that's in front of us today is a really important step in advancing the development of this project. There are some final details that'll have to be worked out as far as the dotting the I's and crossing the T's, but we're really anticipating work happening this spring and summer and excited about that. And also just to say that this is in line with our sustainability goals and guidelines, and we are thankful for all of our partners who have reached out and kind of reached to achieve those goals within this project. And we're really envisioning that this will be a nationwide example of sustainable development, and it proves that we can do this here in Minnesota, and hope is an inspiration to other development as well. So just wanting to thank our partners. The developer we're working with this is Ryan Companies, and working with the specific project to bring them along, to the folks at the Joint Development Authority, our partners in the city of Arden Hills, and then of course our staff here in Ramsey County for working so diligently to bring this forward. So just wanted to recognize that and lift up that work.
thank you, Commissioner. You want to make a motion, Commissioner?
Yes, I move that we approve the amendment to the purchase and sale agreement for a TCAP of the Rice Creek Commons Outlet A.
Is there a second?
Second.
And you have a question?
I have some comments. Thank you, Commissioner Jebin Singh, Commissioner McGuire, and Commissioner Miller, for all of your leadership and work on this. I just wanted to make it clear, too, also about our process here, that it's the Joint Development Agreement with the Joint Development Authority that has also made this recommendation as well, and that includes the City Council members of Arden Hill, as well as representation from the Ramsey County Board there. This is reducing the initial purchase price offer to $1 to support the sustainability and clean energy measures in phase one. I really appreciate staff taking our input into consideration where it says that if those sustainability design or are less than what it actually costs, then that the county would be able to get that money back too. The savings from the sustainability savings will be returned to the county. So I just really appreciated that stated in the RBA here. And I also really believe that this is, one, going to be a model, but two, setting the standard and expectation about what this development will look like moving forward. And number three, being clear that we really want to maximize and utilize private investment and not just rely on public dollars for investments here. So I just wanted to name that, and also want to thank you all for your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the staff, for sure the staff.
Hearing no further discussion, roll call, please.
Miller,
Aye.
Moran,
Aye.
Zhang,
Aye.
Jebin Singh,
Aye.
McGuire,
Aye.
McMurtry,
Aye.
and Ortega.
Aye. Item number 7.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to allow for staff to come up to provide the board the most current update on this project.
Great. Good morning, Mr. Chair, Board of Commissioners. My name is Alex Kutza. I'm the Interim Deputy County Manager of Health and Wellness, and today in front of you as the permanent Chief Financial Officer for the county.
Good morning, Chair, Commissioners. I'm Chetan Ganatra. I am the Permanent Chief Information Officer, no interims here for the county. I had to keep myself quiet because I'm super excited today. As a CIO, this is a momentous occasion for me because we are utilizing a ERP system or enterprise resource planning, which many of us know as Aspen Summit, which is 20 years old. And I think it's my privilege to bring county into 21st century where technology is concerned as the CIO for this county. So the RBA in front of you today, we'll talk about 3 contracts. We have myself, CFO Kodza, and our teams have been hard at work along with our partners at Plant Moran for almost 2 years now. And today is the culmination of all that hard work that we are in front of you with these RBAs. We have selected the software vendor Workday as our main software for ERP or Enterprise Resource Planning System. It's an industry standard software. It's really great. We have selected Cognizant Technologies as our implementation partner. This huge system which requires process and technology changes. We require a partner that has done it at many other places. And UNA will be our budgeting software. We have also contracted with them. All these 3 vendor contracts are a part of this RBA. And this budgeting software, UNA, will also be a part of this RBA. We have Todd Eubanks from Workday here today, Natalie Schwartz from Plant Moran, who have been working with us for 2 years to get us to this point, and Christian Tyler from Cognizant Technologies is online. Even Natalie is online. Welcome, Todd, Natalie, and Christian, and thank you for being here today. Now that I have talked about all the exciting parts, one thing I'm really excited about is this new ERP system will bring, I can't even express the amount of efficiency that I'm hoping this new ERP system brings for us. Today, our HR and finance systems don't really talk to each other. This will bring efficiencies in terms of us communicating with our community, with our vendors, making payments will get faster, even within our systems where HR and finance need to talk. I think I'm really looking for great efficiencies out of this new integrated Workday system. I have had the fun part of talking about technology. For the money part, I'll hand it over to our Chief Financial Officer, Alex Kodza.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Again, I share in CIO Ganatra's excitement today. This has been 2 years of work, and it's not just us. There's a whole team of people, including many people in the audience today, who have worked really hard to get to where we are. Also, it's important to take a moment. This is a $22 million investment for this organization, for something that will hopefully last us for the next 20 years and bring us into a new place in terms of even, I got a laugh last time, but how we pay our mileage, how we do payroll, how we reimburse our vendors and partners in the community. I can't tell you how many calls I get, where is my check? What happened to this? These are foster parents. These are vendors from small businesses. These are our own employees who retired, and we have to do better for them. This system and our partnership with Workday, call them out right here in the room, and Cognizant will help us do that. So the factors driving this cost are the 3 contracts that Chayton mentioned, as well as our own internal staff. So until 1/1/27, when we go live, we will be running our current system and bringing up the other system, which means that we need people to back up our own people so they can focus on the new system and making sure it works for us. And that on that 1/1/27 go live date, the cutover is seamless and no one really notices except your screens will all change, right? Everyone is trained and ready for that day. So there is an investment in our own staff and making sure that we have that. There's also a contingency. You never want to do this large of a project without planning ahead for some sort of contingency. Ideally, we won't have to use that, but if we do, it's there and we won't have to come back in front of you. So as I said, this is a big investment. There's a big team. I just want to recognize we got a few people in the audience. If you let me have them stand up for 1 second because they've been working. Carrie, Sheila, Matt, Mike, sorry. There we go, Carrie. They've been working super hard. They're like the core team. We meet hours and hours every week, and we literally would not have gotten here without them. So thank you. And the last thing I want to say is today's the day that the hard work starts. Right now we have to actually work towards implementation and making sure that we do all of the things so that that 1/1/27 date is met and it's a seamless move for us. So thank you for your support. Many of you have heard about this for 2 years, and we really appreciate. Some of you are new to it, but very excited. So thank you, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know you had mentioned a little bit about like how this will help us internally too. Will it also help us with our goals of the hiring, attraction, talent, recruitment, and retention? Especially given that we haven't been able to like track and retain a lot of good data about who's leaving the county, and what we have just been able to see very preliminarily from the HR presentation last year was just that we were seeing higher turnover rates, among our employees of color. Will the system be able to help us start up that infrastructure and track data?
Thank you, Commissioner, for that question. This new system will enable us to see all our data much more clearly, and that helps us track how we have managed to do employee retention, and especially also track it by the diverse gender, race groups, etc. And that is the first step to us taking measures. Once we understand what it looks like and why this is happening, this system will enable us with that foundational data to take steps towards creating a way more diverse workforce and retaining the diverse workforce.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Zhang, thank you for the question. I also just want to add the robust reporting aspects. Workday particularly impressed us in the RFP process for their reporting, the kind of reports you can get out of it, what data you can actually see and plan. Our labor relations partners were very excited. Our HR partners were excited. They started as an HR system that has grown into the finance side, and this is what they're best at, I would say. I mean, they could disagree with me, but this is what they're best at, and I'm really excited for what HR can do with this system.
Okay, great.
Go ahead.
2 more questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
My second one is in the contract here, or the following contracts there. Are there? I know we have a contingency. What would the contingency cover?
So, Madam Chair, Commissioners, or Mr. Chair, sorry, made you the chair for a second, Commissioner Zhang. So once we get into it, there are different pieces where we say, oh, how are we going to implement this in Ramsey County? And there are things called tenants and different environments that we want to make sure we have access to. Also, we're unsure how many people we're going to have to replace throughout this and maybe what other contractors we might want to bring in for things like change management or additional training. And until we really see how we have to change all of our processes and systems, even though we've been doing work for 2 years with Plant Moran to plan for this and get ready for this, you don't really know until you are in the system and say, okay, this is the module we're going to use. This is how we're going to change our processes, and these are the supports we need. Also, it's pretty standard on this large of an IS project to have a 20% contingency just to make sure, because it's hard to get those costs exactly right on this big a project.
And is it distinguish about like when it's a part of the project and when it's outside of the scope, right?
Yes, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Zhang. So all of this funding is contained in a project, and we have to approve what is related to the project. So the 3 contracts that I mentioned. What I didn't mention, and I'm sorry I didn't, is the different funding sources. So one funding source is project funding through our IT project fund, which we've been planning for through the Technology Governance Committee. The second piece of funding is we're asking for approval today to use up to $6 million of general fund balance. Those 2 funding pieces are very flexible. We can spend them on anything. The third piece is in 2026, we're asking you to bond for up to $12 million for this project. That is slightly less flexible. We have to make sure those match up. And so we'll look at all of the costs of the project. Chayton and I and our HR partner will approve those, and then we'll decide which funding source is the best funding source to pay for those.
And final question around the funding. Thank you for mentioning that. This reminds me of like an infrastructure. It is infrastructure, investing in our infrastructure. What was the discussion or consideration of not using ARPA dollars in the past? Do you recall that? And also, if we do have any like remaining ARPA dollars that projects don't come to full fruition or it comes under budget, may that fund be used in place of the general fund?
Hey, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Zhang. So this project wasn't, I'm not familiar enough with the ARPA standards to know if we could have used ARPA funding for this, but as the county board at that time approved, this wasn't a project within the scope of what we used our ARPA funds for. We've actually spent and obligated all of our ARPA funds to date, so we could not use, we've obligated them per Treasury and the federal government, so we couldn't shift that funding to something else. But we're always, I do appreciate the idea of, are there grants or other funding sources? And we're always looking for those. So if in the course of the next 2 years we find an opportunity, of course we'll look at that and try and offset. That's why some of those numbers are up to amounts, so that if there's somewhere else we can go to support this infrastructure, we absolutely will.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Let me just say thank you for all the good work. 25 years ago, we had a controlled data mainframe. And believe me, at that time we had this discussion. There were actually board members that voted against moving forward. It has to be done. This is not a matter of choice. This is a matter of us having the appropriate infrastructure for the future. And in 20 years, we're going to have to do it all over again. My question, though, is how does AI fit into this whole new infrastructure?
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, AI is the buzzword today. We don't have specific AI features, just like you see AI in the marketplace today, like ChatGPT or Gemini, but Workday software does have some AI workflows that happen in there that will make our work easier. But first is getting to that point. Any AI is as good as the data behind it, and this system lets us get the data that's accurate and that's good enough for any AI to run off. but I don't want to short sell the software. Workday is an industry leader, and they are incorporating AI in multiple workflows, but I cannot speak to the specific workflows they have used AI in.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, do you want Workday to come up and speak to
Sure.
that in there?
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Todd Eubanks with Workday. I also want to introduce Kim Christensen, who is Customer Success Manager to help you make this project successful on behalf of Workday and our partners Cognizant. So to address the AI question, yes, AI is a very important piece of what Workday is doing now and what we're developing in the future. It's a big piece of our development for the future. We have incorporated several elements within our products, AI, to help you and your employees get more out of the system, to bring insights directly to them immediately. We have that in several of the products that you're purchasing now. But more importantly, because this is a cloud product, it's based in the cloud, which means we don't have the servers and infrastructure in your data centers. It's in the cloud, and it's provided to all of our customers. Our federal agencies, the biggest retail banks, U.S. Bank, Bank of America, the biggest retailers, Target, Walmart, as well as City of Minneapolis is a new customer, City of Milwaukee is a new customer, Maricopa counties, some of the largest counties in the country. They're all in the same platform. So what we're developing in the future, the AI capabilities that Ramsey County will get in the future, is available for all our customers, so you get advantage of all of those moving forward. So I hope that answers your question for you.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Appreciate being here. Thank you.
Questions? Nina?
Good morning. I just wanted to say thank you both for your leadership and just putting Ramsey County into the present and the future. This work around AI technology is something that is going to really elevate the services externally and internally. So that we can be more productive for the people that we're serving here in Ramsey County. So I just want to say just thank you for your vision, finding a way to make this happen, and then making it happen. Along with our county manager, Becker, just say, thank you, good luck, and we look forward to the updates.
Thank you. Garrison, you want to move it?
I just have a quick question.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's great to see you. Thank you for all your work, everyone. We're very excited about this. Just because you mentioned City of Minneapolis, is City of St. Paul participating in this? And would that be a good thing for them to, because we have some similar data, I would guess. So just curious about that.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner McGuire, the City of St. Paul replaced their ERP system a few years back, I want to say closer to 5 years ago, with a different system. But we are working, Anoka County has done Workday, City of Minneapolis. We've also been in touch with Denver, which was an early adopter of the Workday product. They mentioned the City of Milwaukee. I think some of you know I came from the Milwaukee area, so I have some connections there. But we are definitely in touch with the kind of the best practices group in government of who's implementing this program. And I'm always happy to partner with St. Paul when our things line up well.
Thank you. I have no doubt that you've done your due diligence, and this is the best way for us to go forward.
All right, thanks, Mr. Chair. I move that we approve item number 7, Enterprise Resource Planning Funding Plan, and request for approval.
Second.
Hearing no further discussion, roll call.
Miller,
Aye.
Moran,
Aye.
Zhang,
Aye.
Jebin Singh,
Aye.
McGuire,
Aye.
McMurtry,
Aye.
and Ortega.
Aye. Thank you very much. Let's move on to legislative update.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to give a brief update, and then I would ask any of my colleagues who would want to add to the report. I'm going to ask the county manager to add all the work that's been going on. I know that we're all doing a lot of work for our legislative, with our legislative partners.
and thank our director, Jenna Rourke, for helping put this update together. So we are entering the week of the first committee deadline. So this Friday is the first and second deadline for any policy bill. So that means that the policy bills have to have been through both committees in the House and Senate. It feels like they were just starting and now they're needing to meet these deadlines. So next Friday will be the third deadline for omnibus bills, and most of the policy and finance committees will have rolled out their big bills. I like to call them ominous bills, but they're omnibus bills, and they're the big bills that have a lot of policy and numbers in them. So we're gonna be monitoring those big bills to find out what's in there that impacts us. This week we have two big hearings. I'm going to shout out to Commissioner Zhang, who's going to be appearing before the Senate State and Local Government Committee on the Economic Development Authority bill, along with our Deputy County Manager, Carrie Collins. So thank you, Commissioner Zhang, for testifying on behalf of our Economic Development bill. And on Wednesday, Commissioner Moran will be testifying in support of our county statewide homelessness bill that's in front of the House Human Services Committee. So thanks to both of you for your time and dedication to see these bills through. The Senate and House budget targets came out on Friday and over the weekend. So budget targets are the amounts that are assigned to each finance committee on what they can spend in their area, and the committees wait for those budget assignments before they can actually pass their budget. So as we expected, funding is going to be tight across the board with actual cuts in areas that we really care about, health and human services, and then also on the K-12 budget. These are the biggest parts of the budget, so those will see some of the largest cuts. If you're on the board, the AMC Monday newsletter did a good comparison on this work. So we are really concerned about the cuts that we're going to see in the human services budget. So we'll be continuing to work with our legislators on that. On the federal side, money that had been allocated to state and community health departments and other groups for COVID-19 response has been abruptly canceled by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. This is very disturbing. As of March 24th, 2025, all activities and work on this grant is terminated per a memo from the MDH. This is a total loss of $577,000 and for Ramsey County. While no staff salaries were funded by this grant, there were several COVID-19 and other vaccine initiatives, such as a contract with mHealth Fairview to provide vaccinations at county-sponsored community-based vaccine clinics and various media campaigns to educate residents about the importance of vaccines that are now no longer funded. So we're very concerned about this loss and this ability to really promote these vaccines, which we know are really beneficial to our residents. So that is disturbing, and we'll be, of course, letting our federal congressional delegation know how this is impacting us. But I'm going to ask our county manager, Becker, to add the work that she's been doing or the work that the county's been doing, and then if anyone else wants to comment.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioner McGuire. So on Friday, I did post a message to all employees about how federal orders are impacting state and local government funding and our county's response to those orders. For several weeks, we've been supporting departments, and we'll be now accelerating that effort through what is called the Federal Response Action Team. That team's going to be led by our Chief Compliance Officer, Deanna Pesic, and include subject matter experts from finance, human resources, government relations, our county attorney's office, communications, and the chief of staff. This team will help to, first of all, proactively monitor the situation. This will ensure that we're strengthening our ability to track and anticipate federal developments that affect our programs and services. It will also ensure cross-department coordination, which is really important because we want to be able to create a structured approach that ensures that departments are able to look at this organizational-wide, that is consistent in terms of decision-making. And then lastly, it is that decision-making. We want to make sure that the group is helping myself and the executive team, as well as all of you, to make timely decisions related to any of the impacts that might be happening. So I just want to say to staff, I know we are in very uncharted, unprecedented times. It is our top priority to maintain stability for both our employees and for the services that we provide. The county does have nearly 90 grants that are either directly federally funded or pass through federal funds through our state agencies. There are a couple of grants in particular that we are tracking very closely even as of today because of some things that we are hearing. So also related to this, I also wanted to address some of the things with the state side of the budget. Recently, Chief of Staff Maria Sarabia and Deputy Director of Aging and Disability Services, Katie Mullner, they were part of a statewide roundtable with Betty McCollum to talk about Medicaid cuts. And so we shared at that table the risks of increased delays to assessing services, likely changes to benefit sets, significant disruptions to the system. We also let them know that a third of people in Ramsey County are eligible for safety net programming such as Medicaid. And also in 2024, we know that in Ramsey County about almost 200,000 people were eligible for these programs. And we have about 40% of our population that actually receive some of these services. Many are children, many are elderly as well. So we're definitely trying to be at the tables in rooms where there are these conversations happening around the state budget challenges. So yeah, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, County Manager Becker. As anyone else has any other comments, I do want to say we are meeting, Jen O'Rourke and I are going to meet with our newest Ramsey County delegation member, David Gottfried, who was just elected out in the Roseville Shoreview area. And so we'll be meeting with him tomorrow to talk about all the priorities that Ramsey County has, so he can be an ally for that. But thank you, County Manager Becker, for all the work that you're doing, and this, federal response and state response teams. It's just unfortunate that with all the hard work that we have to do and we're doing, that we have to struggle with the uncertainty of that. So thank you for your work.
Thank you.
I just have a quick question. Just knowing that everybody is having to deal with these unprecedented and ever-changing times, how are we communicating back and forth between our state leadership on how we're going to coordinate here in Ramsey County if and when different things happen, to make sure that we are collaborating to make sure that the services that are essential services and care for residents is maintained? I mean, I guess the idea of just continuing to pass the buck from one government agency to the other isn't really going to make a difference in people's actual lives. So I'm just wondering where are we at with conversations as much as coordinating, the aftermath of how we're actually going to fund and actually coordinate those services.
I was going to bring up a similar point. The issue is we could track the state and the federal government. The reality is there's going to be pain, period. I mean, this is not difficult to discern. I guess what I think maybe we're tracking along is where our folks should be looking at where we know it's going to be the most pain, who it impacts. What is the threshold for us in terms of filling that gap? I mean, I think those are the issues. What's going to happen at the state and at the feds is going to be pain.
If I might just clarify, I don't know that we're not passing the buck, it's just coming down to us. Like the state and federal government are, if they're cutting their budget, it's all coming down to us. So the counties are going to bear the burden. When the federal government cuts, we have to pay.
Well, that's my point.
Because they cut us. And the state government cuts, it's us that have to pay. So we said they're taking liberties with our levies. And it's really unfortunate. That's why we're continuing to meet with Congresswoman McCollum and with the state to tell them what is happening. But yeah.
But that's limited. The outcome is limited at the federal level.
Right.
I mean, we need to start gearing up and have our folks allocate more of their time to looking at where and how do we mitigate.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. I think that first step is the assessment, though, because we do need to be able to figure out what it is that is at risk and then really determine. I know a lot of you have heard me talk about county responsible services, and I think this is going to be a time that we're going to have to accelerate understanding truly what are the things that we do that are county responsible. And I know I've defined it broadly as those things that we're mandated to do or no one else is actually responsible for doing them in the overall public sector ecosystem, but it is truly a county function, and we're going to have some conversations about what those things are. And that's why having that first round analysis, understanding what's at risk, and then being able to make those decisions as to whether or not this is a county responsible service and are there things that we need to shift, those are all going to be coming soon. So. And I do think at those Medicaid roundtables, DHS was at those tables, and they are going to have to manage this statewide. I mean, I've often said with all the things happening to us, we're not that unusual in that there's other counties mitigating this. We are unusual in that the amount of need and the populations we serve are quite different than perhaps other parts of the state, but we continue to lean on, our association, our NACO partners, but also, working with the state agencies. For most of these federal dollars, the state agencies are feeling the first layer of impact and having to sort of reshift, recalibrate their priorities as well. So we'll continue to give updates every week on this as needed, and I know we have an active team. Particularly, I think a significant area is public health, and Dr. Karen and I have been emailing almost every day, probably before 6 a.m. So we've been kind of hitting, our every day with what's in front of us today. So appreciate her leadership and the work of, there's probably 5 to 7 departments that are the most significantly grant funded, and we're going to be really trying to support those business areas to understand the impacts and exposure that they have. So thank you.
Yeah. I just want to say that when I read the team that you're putting together, I was very encouraged on the proactive nature of that, and I want to thank you for that. And it was needed because the previous conversation was realizing that one of the very first things that was going to be cut was community-based vaccination clinics. And in a county where we have the most density, the greatest diversity, people from all over the world, our cultural communities that are here, the idea that would be the first thing impacted was quite staggering. And so I appreciate your bringing the leaders together to figure out how we're going to address this, to make sure we're still lifting up the things that we are obligated to do. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And I know we need to be ready, Mr. Chair. I know we need to be ready for this, but we're also trying to be proactive in that we're letting everyone in Congress and everyone at the state know the degree to which these cuts really do negatively impact our residents. And so if they can do anything to not do some of these things, that's what we're trying to do. I mean, once they come down to us, we have to deal with it, and it's tragic. But we're trying to let them know before it happens, and we've got everyone in the country and everyone in the state, all counties, I will say, are letting their elected officials know that these cuts are drastic and really impacting people's lives, and they shouldn't go through with some of them if they can still put that in the budget. So we are trying to get ahead of the game a little bit there by letting people know, and but right once it comes down.
Yeah, we definitely should be doing that, but at the same time being prepared for the inevitable.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And our constituents, I got to tell you, I've had conversations with my constituents, and they know the pain's coming. They're just trying to, I think we need to be as informative as possible, as early as possible. Nobody needs surprises, I guess.
Yeah, Commissioner, I would just say the last thing I'll add is there's another avenue which is working closely with our county attorney's office and leveraging Attorney General Keith Ellison's office too. Like there's many opportunities to participate in other statewide lawsuits to contest some of the orders. And so, I've been in touch with County Attorney Choi too when it makes sense to explore which ones are kind of happening around the country and when it might make sense for, him to engage with Ellison's office to determine whether Minnesota should join any of those cases as well. So there's kind of, it's a multi-pronged approach to try to mitigate some of the effects. I just really do want to end with just reassurance to the organization that we're trying to be proactive but not overly reactive too, and recognizing that every day, today being recognizing County Government Day, counties do so much work that matters, boots on the ground to families, stabilizing families and individuals, and we just want to stay focused on our work while also recognizing there are these challenges ahead of us. We don't want to increase anxiety for the organization while recognizing that, we are trying to stay ahead of what's happening around us and be really thoughtful in whatever we need to do. So thank you for the time today.
County connections?
Yeah, I do have a couple things. In some good news, I think it was mentioned last week, today is the grand opening of the Environmental Center. So features include that household hazardous waste drop-off, electronics, food scraps, and household recycling, a free product reuse room. I know some of us got a tour, and it's a beautiful facility. So it's located at 1700 Kent Street in Roseville. It'll be open year-round, Tuesdays through Fridays, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Saturdays from 9 to 4. All are invited to join in multiple of celebrations during Earth Week, which is actually the week of April 21st this month. So I just encourage folks to check our website for those activities. Also, I just wanted to make sure residents knew that the 2025 property valuation notices and tax statements should have arrived in your mailboxes last week. These are notices that include your property tax or your property classification, your estimated market value, and taxable market value, which is used to determine your property taxes for 2026. So now is the time to appeal or question your classification or valuation. It will be too late to appeal when the proposed taxes are mailed in November. The first step in this process is to contact our assessor's office with your questions. They can be reached at 651-266-2131. If you choose to formally appeal your property value to the County Board of Appeal and Equalization, those appeal forms must be postmarked no later than May 5th. So I just want to make sure folks knew that this is now the time, the window to do that. And then lastly, I wanted to introduce you to a new staff member, Joseph LaPlante. He is our new and first ever Deputy Director of Internal Audit. So I'm going to invite Joe to come up here. He comes to Ramsey County with 17 years of internal audit experience. He reports to our Chief Compliance Officer and for his day-to-day work, and also supports the Audit Committee, which many of you are a part of. Most recently, Joe was with Blue Cross and Blue Shield in Minnesota, where he held several internal audit roles. He's a certified internal auditor, a certified information systems auditor, and a certified fraud examiner. So as operational risk continues to increase for government agencies in areas of cyber, fraud, regulatory areas, his role will help us to become more proactive in managing our risk countywide, validating our processes and controls. And so I'm really grateful, Joe, that you are joining our organization, and would just like to give you a minute to introduce yourself to the board.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, County Manager. I just wanted to thank everyone for the warm welcome, not even today, but just over the last month since I started. It's been very appreciative. It's been a pleasure to see and hear about all the good work Ramsey County is doing for its residents, even with everything that's going on in this world. I think that's the one thing I've really picked up since I've started, and I appreciate that. So just thank you for the warm welcome. I'm looking forward to working with everybody moving forward to help us be better.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Maijan, you want to kick off the...
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Let's see. Along the lines of our legislative requests, last Tuesday, Commissioner Miller and I presented at the White Bear Lake City Council. They approved a resolution supporting our EDA efforts, our legislative ask. And we received really good feedback from the city council members who said they've had such positive experience working with the county. and that this would be an effort that would also be very helpful for them and their city as well. So I want to thank our staff for having such a great working relationship with our cities to be able to have that trust and confidence. As you all know, Gold Line already started last week. We funded the whole week of free rides. I would also say that many people are still weary about how to ride it, since it is the first in the nation, first in the state for BRT. So my office is planning, along with other folks in the community, on a tour or just a tour session where we can all park and ride at Sunray, and then go downtown and come back together, and it'll be like a working meeting type, but then just so that people get the experience. So that date is later in April that I will share and help push out. I think it's been a while now, but 2 weeks ago at CAPRW, or Community Action Partnership, Ramsey in Washington, I got reelected as secretary of the board. Our slate of executive officers remained the same since this would only be our second year serving in leadership position. We also celebrated Commissioner Fretham, and I would say Commissioner Fretham's legacy is everlasting for community action, because we received updated conflicts of interest forms that we signed. We have now a delegation authority form that allows for our executive director or our CEO to be able to help delegate and make sure that everything moves along. In addition to that, we also have a consumer sector process for electing folks to serve on our board, because it's a tripartite board that requires us to have both public, private, and consumer sector representation on it. So I just wanted to share that with you all about CAPRW. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A lot was happening these last few weeks, since we didn't have a board meeting last week. And so we'll start with the Ramsey Washington Recycling and Energy Board, and thank my colleagues, Commissioner Miller and Ortega, for serving on that board, with Commissioner Mirren and Bingham from Washington County. We had a great meeting. We passed the 2024 year-end, or we approved the 2024 year-end budget. When I want to thank Commissioner Miller for her service on the Finance Committee for that board. And we also had an update from our AMC. We have an AMC Solid Waste Management Work Group, where we have representatives from around the state who are working on solid waste. I actually serve on that, but our own Victoria Reinhardt was at that meeting, and so was our Director of Recycling and Energy, Trista Martinson. There was about 50 people on the call that is talking about solid waste in the state. So we're going to learn from each other, and they're mostly learning from us on how we're proceeding with our recycling and energy work. We also met in closed session then, the board did, to discuss the Recycling and Energy Executive Director, Trista Martinson, her 6-month review. So we did that and passed that review, and we'll do a public summary of that at our next board meeting. But we are very pleased with the work that she's doing, and the work that's really being done with our Recycling and Energy Board. So it's amazing work. We have a lot going on. We're very watchful for what's happening at the state and federal level, because some of the grants and work that we're doing need some grants from the federal government, so we are ever watchful for that. Anyway, that was the Recycling and Energy Board, and just I'll encourage my colleagues to add whatever they want during their report. Then also we had Active Living. Ramsey Communities met. We continue to get 40 to 50 people on our calls, and it's such a great work with our cities and nonprofit partners that want to work on active living, which is our biking, walking work. And so we heard about our countywide pedestrian and bicycle plan overview. and our Public Works American with Disabilities Act transition plan. We heard from that. And the bicycle and pedestrian GIS clearinghouse update reminder. And then our benches are still available. So if people want a bench, we offer them free of charge because we have a grant for that. But the city or the entity that wants them just has to put the cement platform down for the bench. So there's a cost for them to do that. But otherwise, the benches we contribute the benches for that work. So active living was great. I want to give a shout out to Luke Baker of our own Ramsey County land support. He's a land support specialist. He does IS, information systems, and he's one of the help desk guys who helps with our computers. He spent hours with me, and I just want to give a shout out to him. Their service desk is end user support, I think is their new title. His colleagues Cindy Robbins and Matt Sorry, just to give them a shout out for during County Government Week of all the great work that they're doing helping us with our computers. So shout out to Luke for his great work. We also had the Association of Minnesota Counties met. I'm going to let Garrison, you're going to do the report. Great, okay? But I will talk about the leadership summit that I went to before that. I just encourage you all, if you can go to their leadership summits, they happen on an annual basis. This one was Outperform the Norm with Scott Welly, and we learned about, committing to your best, showing up consistently, being courageous, communicating effectively, and connecting to a purpose. Leadership is not a role, it's a responsibility. It's not a selfie, it's a service. It's not just talking the talk, it's walking the walk. So it's just a whole, day, a couple of days of really assessing your own leadership and really being the best that you can be for your county. And I just, I highly recommend these summits. We had over 100 people in the room from around the state, just trying to be the best leaders that we can be. And I just thank AMC for putting that on and encourage you all to go the next time. So, and then our Ramsey County Extension Committee met, and it was really fun because we had Commissioner Jebin Singh and Commissioner McMurtry and I were all there to learn. Oh my gosh, we were all taking such amazing notes, and I could go on and on about all the amazing things that Extension is doing. We heard from the Department of Family Health and Wellbeing, 4-H Youth, the Horticulture Volunteer Program, just Urban Ag Coordinator. Oh my gosh. There's so much great work being done. I'm going to let my colleagues add whatever they want to that. But Extension was a great meeting. And with that, there's what's coming up here this week is I talked about that meeting, and I think that's that, Mr. Chair. I'll end my report. Thank you.
Commissioner Singh?
Yes. Alrighty. Well, thank you for the board for doing our part for the Rice Creek Commons for Outlot A. The next step is that the final approval will be in front of our JDA. So I just wanted to close that loop, that will be the next order of business for that group. And then I also just wanted to say a couple of things that have happened. I and a couple of my new fellow commissioners, Miller and McMurtry, had a chance to tour the Ramsey County Mental Health Center and to learn a little bit more about all the different ways that our residents can access care. And I just want to shout out to Director Thompson and her team. There's a broad amount of social services that are provided throughout the county. And that day we were only talking about the mental health team, and even that was very varied and complex and in-depth. And so continued learning, and I've had a number of other follow-up meetings that are going to be happening as I dive a little deeper into lifting up that work. So just wanted to thank the generosity of time for her staff to bring us all up to speed on some of the intricacies of that. It was great to be at the Ramsey County Extension Committee, specifically to hear about some of the 4-H work that's happening in the Mounds View School District and some leadership from older students to younger students. And sometimes we forget the different ways that our different entities are interacting and supporting each other and are partnering in community. So that was really lovely to see. I had a chance to join Commissioner Miller at the State of Maplewood breakfast, and although that's out of my district, having worked in Ramsey County in older adult services, I will say I had a chance to talk to healthcare and transportation advocates and business community advocates, but the highlight for me was talking to their director of their fire chief, who has been doing a lot of fall prevention work with their senior committees, senior communities, which is something that I had started when I was in White Bear Lake at their senior program, and it's so exciting to see that work advancing forward. What a lot of folks don't realize is just how much of our emergency services calls are fall assist to our aging neighbors, and how important it is for us to be able to understand how best to deliver that service and pay for it and to do it compassionately. So that was exciting to hear. I had a chance to tour the Union Gospel Mission to see how they were supporting our neighbors that are currently unhoused and getting them towards steps towards independence. And that was really wonderful to see all of the different ways that public and private and nonprofit partnerships are working together. I was able to attend the MICA breakfast, the Interfaith Council, Metropolitan Interfaith Council on Affordable Housing. And I just have to shout out to Commissioner McMurtry, who was called up on the spot to speak to some of the issues as one of our legislative speakers was delayed. And kudos, and I'll just say yes, please. If anybody, we ever need a guest speaker to speak immediately, wow. See, I had a chance to go to the Many Faces of White Bear Lake's Native Cultural Showcase. This is an organization that I've been participating with since its inception. It was wonderful to see over 400 individuals and families celebrating and learning about their the different cultures that have been here for forever. It's just beautiful. I had a chance also to tour the Justin Center, which is in the northern part of my district, and just to put forth in this time where mental health and accessing mental health services is so difficult, the Justin Center is really focusing and lifting up suicide prevention work. They also have a grief group for those who have lost someone through a death by suicide. And they're also providing training and retreats for caregivers in the mental health profession, which is so desperately needed to make sure that we can buoy individuals who are doing this very hard work and make sure that they have the care to be able to go the distance and continuing to provide that. And then I was also able to go to the Coven for Women's History Month celebration, the One Minnesota History Makers. It was fantastic. The governor, they had folks from the governor's office. There was a proclamation celebrating Women's History Month, and to see a panel of women activists, entrepreneurs, leaders from our local media. It was just a wonderful time to recharge. Coming up, County Manager Becker and myself will be at the Vadnais Heights City Council tonight, just giving a county update. I plan to attend the Financial Aid Services Engagement event this Thursday at the Rondo Library from 6 to 7:30 to hear updates from folks who are participating in some of our programs there. And then, as always, the Lions in the suburbs are at it again. We've got there's a service morning in Roseville on Saturday, and then on Sunday there'll be in the Vadnais Heights Common a waffle breakfast. So good times to be had by all. There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Over the last week, we've done a number of meetings with constituents and other community groups, and have had a chance to have briefings on a number of county matters. I started off last week meeting with the Frogtown District Council. I have a little bit of Frogtown within my district, but it was great to meet with their executive director, Katie Royce, and her team, just to get a better sense of the work that they're doing around the community, as well as to update them on some of the things things that we're working on at the county. So I'm looking forward to continue to build that relationship there. Next, I had a series of meetings with different business leaders within the community. I had a chance to meet with Chad Klaus, who's the president of the Midway Chamber of Commerce, B. Kyle, who's the president of the St. Paul Chamber, and David Higgins, who's the new executive director for the Downtown Development Corporation. All three, I think, it was really great to get a sense of the planning that's in place and the different ideas they have to revitalize not only downtown but all aspects of specifically St. Paul and parts of my district. And I was also just happy to share with them, as we look at the work of economic development, to make sure that we are centering equity in the work that we're doing with development, and to ensure that this development does not lead, ultimately to the displacement of people from their neighborhoods. And so these were messages that I wanted to convey to them, and that they all were very receptive of. And so I'm looking forward to continuing to build upon those relationships and to figure out ways that we can continue to support, from a county perspective, the work that they're doing there. As Commissioner McGuire mentioned, I had a chance to go up to Nisswa for the AMC board meeting, which was last Friday, and had a lot of great conversations with colleagues from across the state. Some of the things that we discussed, there were, of course, legislative updates provided by Deputy Director Hilgard, just providing some insights on the latest budget targets that were announced by the Senate, as well as some updates from the governor's budget, particularly potential significant cut to payment in lieu of taxes that we all know will have tremendous impacts on counties. Additionally, we had an overview provided to us by the Executive Director, Julie Ring, on the potential impacts of Medicaid and the changes on Minnesota counties. We discussed as a board specifically the potential reductions and potential new administrative requirements, like work requirements, that would fall to counties to implement, and had a real robust conversation on the impacts that would have of the different mechanisms and technology that we currently are lacking as counties to even think of implementing such things, as well as the tremendous impact that it could have on residents. And so there was no immediate action from that conversation around those impacts, specifically work requirements, but overall, I think that the board wanted to get some more analysis on those impacts, that we can better be informed on whatever potential decision comes down the road. And then finally, they shared a little bit about the process on applying for different committee leadership positions for NACO. And I know that Commissioner McGuire was able to provide great insights on what that looked like, and encouraging folks to be a part of that process and signing up for said committees. Next board meeting is going to be on April 18th, and I know that we have the annual NACO conference that's coming up July 11th through 14th. And then I will wrap up with just continuing the great experience yesterday of meeting with the Ramsey County Extension Committee, hearing a lot about the different programs that they offer to the community around, providing medicine gardens or different public health screenings that we provide to the community, which is really good to hear the work that's happening. And honestly, for me, got the wheels turning on, all right, who are some other partners in our communities that we can direct them to, so we can ensure that this work is being seen and benefited by folks throughout the community, including something called the Daddy Book that they have, that's for new fathers and in their first year of fatherhood, that they're going to be making updates to, and will be presenting at the Black Men's Healing Conference that's happening at St. Paul College later this month. So it is a book that I'm going to get. And I believe that should be it for my updates. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, it's been a busy couple weeks. So like Commissioner Jevonsing said, I attended the State of Maplewood with her. It was really great to connect with our local partners and also community members. I was also able to attend the Bridgemakers Young Entrepreneurs graduation with Workforce Solutions. I spoke on behalf of Ramsey County and the WIB. It was great to be able to celebrate 7 young adults and their business journey. I brought my daughter with me, and we were also able to support some of their business as well. I have a few of them in my office if you want to see. It's pretty great. I feel like Saturday, the 22nd, was just a busy day between the ribbon cutting. I went to SD 44 Town Hall and was able to hear residents of Senate District 44 voice their concerns, and with our legislators. And, you know, I think it's important that people know, like, what happens at the state also and happens at the federal affects us at the county level as well. So that was heard loud and clear at that town hall. And then ended that day being in community at the Many Faces of White Bear Lake's Native American celebration, which was fabulous. I did a walkthrough of the Maplewoods County Service Center on Thursday, which opened on Thursday, March 7th, with full operations beginning the week of March 10th. This is a great new space. It's located at the Maplewood Mall. Grand opening will be happening sometime during the summer after all the furniture is delivered. Some of the new features include improved Wi-Fi, 3 meeting rooms equipped with TV screens and that are connected to other facilities via Teams. So it was really cool to be able to actually call another staff member at a different location and pop up on the screen. Technology, isn't it wonderful? Commissioner McGuire gave the update for the R&E board. I was with Commissioner Zhang and met with Representative Jay Zhang on the Tech Squad legislation, asking for his support of funding extension for a youth technology job programming, which he's happy to support, which is great. The Workforce Innovation Board Executive Committee met last Wednesday. I'd also just like to welcome Holly Pratt into her new role as the Deputy Director of Workforce Solutions. Her first day was yesterday. The career force is now open at Metro Square, and they saw 32 job seekers on their first day, with 104 in total for their first week, which is really great. There will be a larger grand opening plan for leadership, community, and WIB members when the Extended Service Center opens. And then on the 26th, at the invitation of Commissioner Ortega, I participated in a media event with former Commissioner Victoria Reinhardt to launch the brand new Ramsey County Environmental Service Center, which opens today. I'm super excited for that. The grand opening festivities will be later on this month. And then the 27th, participated at the Heading Home Ramsey biannual full continuum of care meeting at Keller Golf Course. Other than that, you.
Thank you. Tina?
All right. So I have a list here about, I'm scribbling out a whole lot here. But I want to talk about the tour first that I did with Fairview Community Health and Wellness Hub that is located right here in downtown St. Paul. I just remember walking into that building and feeling the warm, colorful, inviting space that is there. And for a Community Health and Wellness Hub, I was impressed to hear them talk a lot about health disparities and use that as the focus of their work. But their goal is to have a positive impact on the health and well-being of the St. Paul community now and into the future. They work side by side with community partners to address food access, affordable health care services, and other socioeconomic factors affecting health, looking at their work through a prevention lens, which for me is like a really transformational way of doing your work and practices. And I was just so reminded that I think the work that they do and how they do it is really aligned with the values that we hold here in Ramsey County. But really was impressed with just the environment and the colors and the diversity that I was able to see reflected in that space. I've had a couple of meetings and calls with community leaders from the East African community, just to share with me they're concerned with Ramsey County not having enough, in their view, enough engagement here in St. Paul. There's a huge East African community in Minneapolis, and so often they are all funneled towards Minneapolis to get the support that they need, especially around language interpretation through service providers. And so it was a meeting just to get a feel for how they can do more partnership and work here in Ramsey County. So my thought was, we need a bigger conversation with that, with more people at the table besides myself. But I do look forward to some next meetings with them. I also met with the new CEO of Catholic Charity, Jamie. I don't want to mess up his last name. So everyone knows his last name, Verbugi? Brugi? Jamie Brugi. It was a really good meeting. You know, it's just an introduction meeting that we was able to just introduce ourselves to each other. And I mean, really not too much more than that. You know, he's pretty new at the work and just trying to find those key spaces where Catholic Charity can continue to partner with Ramsey County and continue to do the work that they want to do around homelessness. So, and I thought it was a really good meeting. Seems like a really nice guy with a lot of experience that he brought from Bloomington. It was like, right? Yeah, so that was really, really good. I participated along with Commissioner Miller at the Heading Home Ramsey Continuum of Care. They have, we hosted our Continuum of Care biannual meeting, so it's called a biannual full Continuum of Care meeting, which is Heading Home Ramsey County Continuum of Care is a partnership between Ramsey County and the City of St. Paul with over 100 community partners and CBOs. And so it was a chance for all the community partners to come together, city, state, to, you know, do elections, to celebrate those organizations who've been doing like really good, awesome work. And, you know, what I like about the continuum of care as we are in this moment of nervousness around the federal government and what that looks like for Medicaid and how it will impact local government is that the continuum of care brings everyone together, right, in partnership to look at where those gaps are. Because we can do a lot of work, but often it could be a lot of duplication. So it's a matter of who's missing from the table, who else can join the table, and how can we work together to have the greatest impact. And I think at this moment in time, where we have to come to the realization that it's a possibility that we have to do more with less. And so being very strategic around what that looks like and how it needs to look like is really, really important that we begin to do that, and for our community partners to see the value in doing the work this way in partnership with. I think that is really the strength that Ramsey County holds in the homeless continuum of care to support individuals and families and youth, to house, support, and through the whole continuum, including looking at how we can engage, in my mind, more mental health professionals, substance use professionals, because what we're learning is that when we look at homelessness, there are individuals who are struggling with not only being homeless, but with mental health and substance use disorders. And so a great team of folks. I just felt it was a really, really good meeting. And I'm excited because I am, as the lead for Ramsey County, I'm the current vice chair of Heading Home Ramsey County. And the practice has been that the chair and the vice chair has swung back and forth between county and city. So the hope is that I have an opportunity to be chair come May. So I look forward to the continued work that we're going to do together to really serve the people here in Ramsey County across the continuum. Let's see here. Commissioner McGuire mentioned that I will be testifying on House File 1914 tomorrow, which is more funding for homelessness statewide, because we do recognize that, you know, Ramsey County is a county where I think we heard that a quarter of those that we are serving are Ramsey County residents, and others are coming from across the states. But we do know the best practice is that if people can be served in their own county, in their own community, it's the best way to do that. And so House File 1914 is about how do we get funding statewide for all 87 counties here in St. Paul. So look forward to that. Anyone who wants to write a letter supporting House File 1914 from across the state, do it, because it's a big issue, and all the counties are struggling with homelessness and serving individuals and housing individuals.
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need a letter from this board regarding that?
What do you think, Chair?
We
talked
in the
about
past had a policy that if it's a part of our agenda, we haven't always done letters. We just say it's part of our platform. Like it's already in our platform, so we haven't always done letters. Sometimes a lot of people ask us for letters, and we've I think we've done a few more than we used to. But I think we just have to decide whether, if it's important. I guess I'll talk to Jen on whether we think that that's crucial or not. But yeah, I mean, I think if you're willing to sign them, I think there was a sense before that we didn't do resolutions on everything that was part of our platform. But we could.
I agree with you, but you know, this issue of homelessness and it's a statewide. I mean, we've been singing that song in this board for 25 years, and if there's any energy behind it, I'd like to give it a push wherever we can. So I'll leave it up to you to decide if that would be of any use.
I would say it has been my experience, and probably your experience too, as former legislators, that we do see those support letters, and we do validate that there's something happening that is beyond just the urban core doing it, but it's a statewide initiative, and that we support the statewide work. So, you know, I think it definitely cannot hurt. It could definitely be helpful. So let's think about it.
On behalf of the board?
Yeah. In support of.
I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt.
Nope, that's good. Yep.
That's been on my agenda for a long time.
I think I participated in a meeting that AMC and MACASA pulled together around a statewide work group. They pulled together a select group of individuals from across the state to meet and greet and share information over our hopes for this new law, which is the Minnesota African American Family Preservation Child Welfare Disproportionate Act, which is a handful, so they call it MIFA. And so they pulled together a team of individuals because, you know, people are worried. They're you know, across the state, we have this new law that people are saying that we need in 2 years is going to be implemented statewide. Right now, you know, as we know, Ramsey County and Hennepin County is leading on the pilot. We call it a pilot, but it's not really a pilot. It's a law that we have taken on. And the reason why we have this pilot that is happening with St. Paul and Minneapolis, and the reasons why a statewide group was also established beyond the AMC small group that was gathered, is that the work group in the language of the bill was established to evaluate and discuss the implementation needs. And it would do that and have a report by September the 1st of 2026. And so we will gather. I think the first meeting is coming either tomorrow or next week of the statewide group. And so it's to discuss the implementation needs and to develop an implementation plan and best practices for statewide implementation. The work group will be led by DCYF, which is the Department of Children, Youth, and Family. And once we come to a collective group decisions around how this can be implemented, statewide implementation, DCYF will prepare an interim report to the chairs and ranking minority members. That was the original language, but there is no minority members in the legislature. They are doing co, right? Because there's equal amount of members in the House anyway. But they will do an interim report to the chairs and ranking minority members of the legislative committee with jurisdiction over the child welfare by January 1 of 2026. So I'm really excited about getting together with folks from the statewide who have decided that this issue is important to them. They want to work on solutions about how we can eliminate the disparities that we see, one, with African American children in out-of-home placement, and focus on family support, resources, and what that needs to look like to implement it statewide. And I think one of the biggest questions that we have around this new law and how it can be implemented statewide is around the word disproportionate. And what do that word mean for everyone across the state, right? And so hopefully this work group can work on that too, that language too, so that we can come to some clarity by September the 1st of 2026. So I look forward to that, being able to work with others and some brings the best practices of what we're learning from Ramsey County into those meetings. And with that, that's my report.
Mr. Chair, can I just?
Thank you. Go ahead.
I just want to say thank you so much to Commissioner Moran for your leadership and your work on that issue. It's the counties around the state, we're nervous about it, and I'm really proud of the Association of Minnesota Counties and counties collectively saying we're going to have issues with this. Some counties said we don't want to do it at all. We just want to stop this. But mostly, everyone agrees that this is something that should be done. We have to figure out how we can get counties to do the work. And Commissioner Moran is really helping in guide that work and as part of these work groups. And just thank you so much for that work and doing something that really is important to be done. And then for counties to not be able to say, no, it's too hard, it's too much money, we can't do it. No, this is important work that has to be done. We have to figure out a way to do it and to get resources to do it. So just thank you for that. And I'm glad that that's the direction that it's going in that. And Mr. Chair, while I'm still talking, I wanted to add on to what Commissioner McMurtry said about NACO's got the application forms are out now for committees at NACO. And just to remind all of you to sign up for any committees, NACO does make appointments. The president will be J.D. Clark. We'll be making those appointments to chair and vice chair any of the committees. So if you're interested in being in leadership of the committees, let him know, apply for it, let me know, I can put in, I can talk to you about that too. But if you want to just be a member of the committee, but if you want to be a member of the committee, that's done through Julie Ring at AMC. But if you want leadership, you need to do it with J.D. Clark at NACO. And then also, if you want to be on any of the commissions or any of the ad hoc task forces, which is Large Urban County Caucus, LUC, which I encourage all of you to be a member of that. I also encourage you, if you want arts and culture, that's a really great committee. Healthy counties, there's an immigration task force. There's a lot of task forces that you can ask to be a part of, and those are presidential appointments. And many of them, they like members, so they'll appoint you. Most people to those. The standing committees, information technology, programs and services, and membership, those are great committees just to be on. And just encourage you to look at all those opportunities. And most of the meetings, of course, are on Zoom now. I mean, the in-person meetings will be at the conferences, but it's a lot of work that you can do from here. So just wanted to put in a plug for that and those committee assignments and any leadership, but also just participation in some of the ad hoc committees. So thank you, Mr. Chair, for letting me put that plug in. If you have any questions on any of it, just talk to me. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll be brief. I won't repeat some of the meetings that I've attended with some of you. I do want to speak about the Downtown Council. We had our board meeting. Some significant developments. Downtown Council has a subsidiary now that's a development corporation aligned with the downtown council, or underneath the downtown council. The purpose of the development corporation is to, quite frankly, is to, if there are any opportunities in the current real estate market, that there is an arm that could take advantage of that and see how we move the needle forward on some of these properties. We've hired a quite qualified gentleman, I forgot his name now.
Dave Higgins.
Dave Higgins, thank you very much. Dave Higgins, who's, I had good conversation with him, and he seems to be very energetic to moving forward on this agenda. The other issue is you're going to see more ambassadors downtown. Eventually they'll be trained. They'll be wearing cameras. That's to increase the safety factor in downtown. So that'll be unfolding over the next 6 months or so. All of these pieces don't solve the problem by themselves, but they all add to the puzzle, right? To make sure we could have a viable downtown moving forward. I also had the opportunity to speak with who you all have met, the president of Regents Hospital, when they came to our workshop here. I'm bringing this up because I thought it was a wonderful idea that we go as a board and meet with them over there. And I suggested to her that we take a tour of the mental health facilities and talk about, some of the issues that we face together. And quite frankly, Regents has moved forward. We've established work groups after our meeting, and one of the outcomes of that has been they've hired a person that's helping with the assessments.
Yeah, they're helping fund an additional employee
Right.
with our FAS assessment,
Right.
eligibility work.
So, that's, that shows it's the building blocks, right? We slowly build that type of cooperation that we need to do. So those are the two big takeaways for me. The other is this weekend coming up is Cinco de Mayo. The parade is in the west side. It's on the way back since COVID. For many years we didn't have the celebration. So welcome everybody to attend and have some good food and entertainment.
Is it this weekend?
This weekend.
Next month.
Next month.
It's
This
April.
is April.
Oh,
I just didn't want to be. I just didn't want us to mislead anybody.
I'm talking about May 5th.
Yes, really. Yes, May 5th.
I'm sorry, I've been involved in the planning. People have called me, and I got Betty McCollum's going to be there, and I'm a month ahead of myself here.
Yeah, wow. But get us ready, right? Let's
Yeah.
Put it on the calendar.
Put it on the calendar, right?
May 5th, right?
May 5th.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you're all welcome to march with Betty McCollum. So I'm extending the invitation.
Mr. Chair, before we adjourn, could I just mention, as we talk about mental health services and the need for beds, let me just state and share, because I was excited about Fairview Community Health, who are building. They got
Yes.
money from the legislature, right, back in 2022, 23, just to change the language around creating a space to hold over 100 beds,
Right.
for mental health.
Licensed beds.
Right, licensed
Right.
bed.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to mention that it's going to be, I don't have the address, but it's right there behind the Senate building on University Avenue.
Yep.
And so 100 plus beds is definitely something
You know
we
what,
need.
Rena, maybe we should set up a
visit?
meeting with those folks as a board.
I do have one
Yep.
Do
set
you?
up already, yes.
Oh,
So I can,
excellent.
if you want to participate, we can do that.
Well, I was thinking of the board.
Oh, yeah, we can invite them. Deputy Mayor Tincher and I are planning to meet with them to talk about the mental health beds, but we are happy to, I could set up a second meeting for the board to talk about it.
I
Yes.
just think, you know, running on the same theme
Yep.
as we
Regions.
need to,
Yep.
talking about a continuum of care.
Sure.
The mental health is sort of an animal of its own.
Yep.
The current continuum of care is dealing with homelessness and a lot of other things, housing, but mental health by itself, I mean, we have the issues with the jail
Yes,
and everything
yes.
else.
Yeah, that meet, oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
I was just going to say, as far as putting together something in the future, I was thinking it would be lovely to have multiple partners, to have a comprehensive understanding, whether it's a brief or a summary, or, I mean, to be able to see the entirety of what we have within the county, you know, and having a more comprehensive map of what's available, what's
Right.
missing, gaps. That's a bigger discussion.
Yeah,
But
yes.
these are all pieces to those broader
Right,
puzzles.
and I'm also thinking of building the relationships of the board with these folks, rather than looking at it from a paper perspective, you know?
Yep.
So there's, because I think that goes a much longer way than just,
Okay, I can do that.
there are no workshops this afternoon. I know the new board members all have just spread to the four winds here with all your activities, looking at places, so enjoy the day.
Okay.
And we are adjourned.